Hello everyone, the December review here, back again with a movie review. Today, we have the new James Wan horror film, Malignant. The film is currently in theaters and can be seen at home with HBO Max. Some spoilers ahead, so make sure you check the film out for yourself. Wait. What's going on around here? What's happening? What the heck?
I am Gabriel. I am here to take over the world.
Alrighty then.
He wants to talk to you.
Okay, so Malignant stars Annabelle Wallis as Madison. One evening, after an argument with her husband turns violent, Madison flees from him and then has a vision of his murder and is then attacked herself but survives. She then starts experiencing more dreamlike sequences of other murders which all turn out to be real. With the help of her sister Sydney, played by Maddie Hasten, and two police officers, Madison begins to unravel the very strange truths of what's behind these occurrences. Director James Wan is no stranger to these types of tales. He's brought us not one, but three horror franchises in Saw, Insidious, and The Conjuring. Malignant takes a few ingredients from those films and sprinkles them together with some over-the-top action sequences in one twisted concept that has most likely created his next horror universe. One thing that stood out to me is that you really need to hang in there for the first 30 minutes or so. The film opens up with a bizarre sequence where someone or something is taking people out in a hospital, a la The Thing, and then we switch over to Madison's story. The setup for me felt overly long at times, with standard horror tropes of dark alleyways and blinking lights, giving way to a lot of screaming and fake-outs. I found myself bored, wondering if it's even worth continuing the film. Thankfully, the second act starts to pick up the pace, and for the last hour or so, it's pretty much an all-out monster, slasher, supernatural action hybrid of a story that turned out to be the exact opposite of my initial thoughts. The story itself plays out as an investigational thriller. Madison and her sister try to figure out who is responsible for the carnage, while most of the evidence points to it being Madison herself. There are two paths to follow during the film. Current timeline, where the killer is running rampant, and then the backstory into Madison's upbringing. The victims are all linked with her past, and as they try to put the whys in the hows together, the details come together to create a rather unique story. There are a few twists along the way which I felt worked pretty well. Some of it's obvious early on, which I feel was done maybe on purpose. There isn't so much an M. Night got you moment here. Instead, it's just a fun and well-timed reveal. The scenes where Madison is pulled into the killer's next strike reminded me a bit of A Nightmare on Elm Street, particularly Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Both films walk the line between what's real and what's not, blending current events into mixed thoughts and rationalizations, until the protagonist can find the strength and courage to face the monster and banish them away for good. Everything in Malignant gets better as the movie goes along. It's a roller coaster ride that has one drop, and you spend nearly 2 hours going up and up and up, slowly, almost forgetting your trajectory for a while. Bits of information is given out along the way, and eventually the bottom drops out, throwing you straight down as the final act converges on the screen. Annabelle Wallis does a great job here as Madison. Sure, there's a lot of screaming going on at first, but as she puts together the pieces, her actions and words get stronger and more pronounced, giving Madison a fully, and sorry for the pun, fleshed out character. There's a scene where she finds herself in a holding cell, and what transpires is pure horror action gold. That moment is almost worth the price of admission alone. Maddie Hasten as Sydney also does well in the supporting role. Her character is the film's emotional safety blanket, which in turn ratchets up the suspense for the audience. I do need to mention there is a moment here that retcons her fate. The shock value was real, and I felt horrible as a viewer for a short time. The switcheroo was good because now the movie didn't ruin my night, but if that particular moment can be changed, then who's to say that anything we just witnessed couldn't be changed? Why just that moment? Nicole Brianna White and George Young do a great job as our two officers involved with the case who actually are supportive of Madison as much as they can be. And the great Zoe Bell also pops in for a moment as well. James Wan goes into full berserk mode a few times in this film. There are a few legit action scenes here. That jail scene I mentioned was exceptionally shot, as too was the chase scene between Detective Shaw and the killer. Visions of Kill Bill were brought on during the police precinct slash-a-thon. We did venture into the screen within a screen realm a little too much. That's when we watch the characters on screen watch something on their screen for a prolonged period of time. It's usually a laptop or television, and here it's old recorded tapes of Madison's past. It's fine, it just stands out to me much in the same way someone runs up the stairs instead of running outside the house. But here it worked, pushing the plot along, which is what it's intended to do. The editing at times felt a bit awkward. In certain sequences, scenes were framed very to the point. We have to do this, then we cut to them doing that. We must talk to this person, then we cut to a direct conversation with that person. There wasn't enough space between the plot points that made them feel organic. It felt rigid, as if some things were taken out. A good comparison would be Halloween 6. There's a moment where Dr. Loomis and Tommy Doyle are taken hostage by the bad guys, and we quick cut to Loomis saying that they've been drugged. In Malignant, it's not that choppy, but it felt similar at times. With the film pushing 2 hours, it felt like there was a bit more removed in favor of the faster pace in the second and third acts. So, with all that said, do I like the film? Yes, I do. It got much better as it went along, and its crazy reveals started happening. It was also quite interesting. On paper, the central storyline would almost seem like a joke, but it works. The subject matter would have come off much worse in lesser hands than a pro like Wan. The tone felt very much like a James Wan mashup with Saw-esque horror elements and vindictive antagonist, mixed with some conjuring supernatural possession themes, and a few nods to The Exorcist for good measure, which doesn't surprise me. But what did surprise me was the all-out action scenes and ridiculous premise of what our lead character was actually going through. Overall, once you get past the first act, the film starts to take shape, shifting gears from a slow-paced question mark to all-out shenanigans. Wallace did a great job with Madison coming to terms with something that is truly all in her head, or is it? I enjoyed his new take on some old cliches. The movie sets up the eventual sequel while standing firmly as its own film. James Wan didn't reinvent the wheel here, but he changed enough parts around to keep things interesting, then opened up the playbook for its excellent ending. I give Malignant 3 out of 5 stars.
You cannot escape my evil plans. I am here for one reason only, and that is to make sure that the world knows that Halloween is the greatest horror franchise in the history of horror franchises.
No. So, yeah, I agree. Halloween is the best horror franchise. I mean, there's a bunch of other cool ones too. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're all pretty good.
Yes, you agree. Okay then. Thank you. See you later.
Hey, like Halloween so much, make sure to check out my Ranking the Halloween series posters video I did.
I actually watched that video already. It was pretty good. I subscribed to the channel.
If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more, and let me know your thoughts on the film in the comments section below.